Welcome to Financial Insider Weekly. I'm your host, Michael Gray, CPA. My guest today is Don Pollard. Don is a chartered life underwriter and chartered financial consultant. He's an insurance broker at Advanced Professionals, a regional insurance brokerage company headquartered in Northern California, serving about 350 clients. The company offers employee benefits and executive life and disability insurance planning. Don has worked in the insurance industry since 1973 and at Advanced Professionals for about 15 years. He has managed insurance agencies and trained agents, and he's a past president of the Silicon Valley chapter of the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors. Because healthcare insurance is such a critical area, I've devoted 3 consecutive interviews with Don to discuss healthcare reform and choosing medical insurance coverage, and you can find some interviews about healthcare reform under past episodes at www.financialinsiderweekly.com. Today, Don and I are going to be discussing group medical insurance for small businesses. So as we get started, I want to caution our viewers, first of all, that some rules for medical insurance may vary from state to state, and that we want you to be sure to work with a consultant who's familiar with your state laws, and also that we're just going to be hitting some highlights here. You can't cover everything there is to know about small business insurance in about a 28-minute program. So we do want to cover some highlights, and we want that to be part of a continuing conversation that you have with a qualified agent. Okay, Don, thanks again for joining me here today.
My pleasure, Mike.
Okay. Don, why should a small business consider offering group medical insurance to its employees?
Well, I think there's multiple reasons for this, Mike, and one of them, probably the most socially overriding reason, is that it's a method that the employer can use to help employees to actually plan for and budget for expenses that would be virtually impossible to plan or budget for if you had to do it individually. So the provision of a medical insurance plan for a person and their family puts a cap on that particular type of an expense for that employee, and it's got to be a huge piece of their financial security is having that one thing addressed in their situation. So that's important. I think that we've seen the results of surveys that suggest that employee benefits, medical insurance and disability insurance and dental insurance, that kind of thing, are very high on potential employees' list of favorable things to consider about a business. And so in fact, that's how the whole thing got started, was that during wage and price freezes a long time ago, there wasn't any way to increase salaries, so they started to provide extra employee benefits. And now we have grown to a place where it's probably 20% of pay is allocated to these kinds of things. So it's a huge piece, and also for employers, a way to show their commitment to their employees, as well as to differentiate between them and someone else.
Okay. So we've had healthcare reform, got passed a couple of years ago. As part of that healthcare reform, there are some tax credits that benefit some employers. Could you maybe explain what a few of those credits are?
Sure. The tax credit is going to be eligible for small employers, and probably only will affect the very smallest of employers that have employees that make very minimal wages. The employer can get a 25% credit toward the cost of the insurance coverage, and any credit that they would be eligible for is reduced by the number of employees they have over 25, the number for each $1,000 that the employee makes over $25,000. So it's really designed for the low income area. Mm-hmm. However, having said that, for those employees and those employers that are in that position, still a great opportunity to again provide that security for your employee at a very favorable price.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what are the employers going to have to do in order to qualify for this credit?
Well, it's designed for small employers, so you have to have 50 or fewer employees, and actually to get the full credit, you have to have down to below 25 employees. So the credit is not fully developed the larger the company gets, mm-hmm. and at 50 is not applicable.
And then, as I understand, after 2013, the employer actually has to participate in one of these new exchange programs or something?
Well, the employer, let's see, when you say have to participate, I'm thinking that that's a penalty, but really, I think the employer is going to want to do an assessment of their particular employees' needs, and then determine what they can get in the open market, which will still be available to them, and then what could they offer their employees if they were to go to the exchange, or what could their employees get if the employer just decided that he was not going to have insurance at all, and then go from there. So again, I think you have the social contract to some extent. That is going to encourage employers to maintain the insurance that they have, so long as the other one is not way better. Mm-hmm. Better being defined as either cheaper or the same benefit for a lesser price. Mm-hmm. And I think that the surveys generally say that most employers intend to retain what they have, but they will also have a look at this other option, which I think is obviously prudent. Anybody would want to see what they have available.
Okay. So there is an employer mandate in the healthcare reform law, as I understand it. How does it affect employers? Maybe you can sort of explain what it is.
Yeah, if an employer has greater than 50 employees, they are going to be required to either provide insurance for their employees or pay a penalty, which then is applicable to them buying the insurance from the exchange. So they're going to have to do one or the other, and that's mandated in the law. Any employer that has less than 50 employees will be exempt from this mandate. So small employers will not have to do that. Except that in order to compete with large employers, they will probably have to do something. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that's how that would work out. And then any employer, who may be under 50 and then thinking about expanding to where he might be over 50, that would be another consideration that they would want to take into account. Is how is that going to affect my cost relative to employee benefits?
Yeah. So you have to keep looking at this. They keep coming up with new rules that apply depending on how many employees that you have, and so you have to see where are you crossing these various thresholds.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's a little bit like, why aren't companies spending money now? Well, because they have lots of money saved up. Well, the reason is not that they're worried about things, it's that nobody's buying anything, so therefore why would they spend any more money? This is the same kind of an example here. If I have the demand for my product and I need 5 more employees, am I really going to let this hold me back? Well, probably not. But I am going to take it into consideration because it is a variable cost that I need to worry about.
Now this employer mandate, I'm sorry, as I understand it, it's effective in 2014, so people still have a
Yeah,
couple
that's
of
correct.
years.
Yeah, all
before-
of the major, the mandate provisions come into play in 2014, along with the exchanges, which are designed to address the mandated issues.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's all. Now, of course, that is dependent upon what happens in March of this year,
2012.
2012, relative to the Supreme Court now going to look at and determine, determine the future of the healthcare and what it's going to look like.
Okay. So, what are the range of different types of plans that employers can offer to their employees? The different types of medical plans that they can offer.
I think you have